All right, guys. Well, here we are. And I know it's been an up and down journey the last couple months. Much more so for me than for you. You're probably just like, yeah, you fell off. I've explained it a number of times. And, recently I've been doing a lot of fucking soul searching because I've had to, because my life got so out of control. I lost control. I got to a point where I didn't want to be sober anymore. I just didn't. I woke up every day and I wanted to kill myself. And that's an honest statement, and I actually tried to do so. Even though, it seems like long-term supporters have turned on me because I just, kind of fell apart publicly again. This is like the second time. This time I'm like throwing darts at balloons. There's like cum mustard. Cum mustard? I don't know. That's what I do. That's why I fucking do monologues, because if my engine's not revved up, I say weird stuff like that. Like cum mustard's coming out of balloons that darts it. It's not the kind of shit that I'd like want to talk to my parents about. Hey, you want to hear about some new shit that I'm into? Sit down, let me tell you this. So why, like, how did it get to that point? Well, first and foremost, I had a drug problem, right? That's weird. No way. We couldn't tell. You could tell. When I'm in that mode of using, my subconscious starts working against me. There's like a Darth Vader outfit on. It's like, yo, let's talk about some shit. I'm like, oh, what do you want to do? You want to try to sabotage the documentary? What do you want to do? Darth. And he like stops talking. So I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to do what I think Darth wants me to do. I'm going to destroy everything. My subconscious starts working against me. It's done this for years, where like I get to a certain place. It doesn't matter. I'm not talking about career. I'm talking about anything, relationship wise, anything. I get to a certain point where everything's going to be like normal, and the subconscious kind of is like, we're going to go pimp some bitch out at a motel. You in? I'm like, oh, all right. Not doing anything else today. Fuck it. Can I get a white power? Oh, so that's what's happened. So the YouTube thing just kind of came out of nowhere. I was at like a really low point in my life where, not low, but I was telemarketing. It's usually not like a sign of, oh shit, things are going great. I think I'm going to go get a telemarketing gig. Oh, $12 an hour? Possibly $1 extra a week on each paycheck for commission? I'm down. 2-hour commute each way? Yeah. Oh, it costs more to get to work than what I'm making. I'm like breaking even. I'm down. And so when YouTube happened, it kind of came unexpectedly. Yeah, the doc was going on before that, fell apart. And I was lucky that Jose came and took the project on. And then it went through a bunch of different directors, and YouTube happened during that time, and then relapses happened, and it was just this up, down, up, down, up, down thing. I had gotten pretty good at being a functional addict. I was very honest about my heroin relapses afterwards, but I was never honest about my coke addiction. I was embarrassed. It's like to the point where it's really looked down on. Like if you're that guy, the party, you have like the chest hair, you're like, yeah, I got yayo. Anyone want to do some? They look at you like you're a fucking date rapist or something. Speaking of which, I'll get to that in a second. I was roofied last night. It was whatever. Just chill. So yeah, I'd gotten into coke, and then I just couldn't stop. Now, Karina didn't know about that. and people fabricated stuff and were like, he was smoking crack. He blew thousands on crack. That's not what it was. But what had happened is I started getting in social scenes where there was cocaine, you know. LA is flooded with it. Now, when I say it's looked down on, it's looked down on by like the people that you don't want to be looking down at you. The people that like are down for it are like juggling fucking coconuts on street corners with like a cardboard sign. Like, no, I'm not gonna spend it on coke. That'd be stupid. Check this out. It's like those are the kind of people that are around. Now, unfortunately, you know, I think getting involved with pretty cool people, right? They're like, you know, artists, shit like that. And there's always this like sub group within every social group in LA, right? There's like people that are doing stuff and they generally aren't being functional drug addicts because it's very hard to do that, right? But then there's these people that hang around. They usually wear corduroy. Like, what do you think about the corduroy jacket and pants? Roommate's like, you got Velcro? Yeah. I have Velcro too. Let's roll. And then those guys come and they're like doing blow with everyone. So I'd start going to these social situations that I think were good for me career-wise. You know, I was around interesting people. But I was also around a lot of groupie scumbags that just like want to give people drugs. And I'm like the kind of person that can't say no. Someone's like, you want a hand job? I'm like, yeah. Fuck. No, I mean, no. It's gross, bro. I can hear Korean. I'm getting the door. Like, I have to do all these repairs for our place because we're moving out. And, like the door got fixed today, but it doesn't shut, so it's open, so she can like hear this. She's like, I knew you were juggling coconuts, piece of shit. Yeah, we're moving this week, so that's like another added thing. But anyway, the point is I'd gotten really bad on cocaine because of people that I put in my life. But see, that would carry over to me doing it by myself. And this is what the problem is with me with cocaine, you know. I started getting weird. I get into psychosis. You're cheating on me. I'm like telling that to my dad. He's like, Ryan, what do you mean by that? I'm like, I don't know. I have a headache. I did too much coke again. Fuck. And like hit my head against the window in the car. So I lied to myself, and by virtue of that, I'm lying to other people. And then what happened is I had to do this magazine ad. So like the coke by itself made me weird, it made me jealous, it made me insecure, it made me paranoid. You know, Karina's been like the one girl that I've really like worked hard on like not you know, being too psycho, like going through their Facebook friend list and be like, did you fuck that person? Did you fuck that person? It's like some 70-year-old woman. I'm like, I know you fucked her. I was on ecstasy. Yeah, I'm not mad. It's a 7-year-old woman. She's not a threat to me. I don't care. I like carve her initials in my ankle with a razor blade. Cover it with a sock so nobody can know my pain. So I act weird on coke anyway, right? But when this article, so I'm getting in a magazine. It's a big magazine, and you know, I've been trying to get in this magazine for forever, like harassing the magazine people. Finally, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll do it. They wanted me to do a shirtless picture, you know? I don't know why. I offered. I was like, you want me to go shirt? No, I didn't. That's what they wanted. Is this whole, I don't want to explain it, but it's this whole stupid spread, right? I didn't like the idea, but I wanted to be in the magazine, so it didn't matter. So I got on steroids. I got on testosterone, HGH, and Anavar or some shit. Anyway, that's when the Midwest trip had happened. And then, everything that had happened with Lucas and with all these other people. That really sucked. That whole trip, everything that happened in the aftermath of that, everything that happened, in my personal life, my mom's sick. Their dog just died, which has like plunged them into just straight up depression. I call and my mom just like whimpers, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's painful, Everything just fell apart at once, right? And then even after that, I'd relapse and relapse and relapse. In the last like week or so, I've just really been trying to focus, hanging out with Sinister more. I'm going to have that office. But we're going to go live up in Santa Barbara for a month. But it's been really hard to find a sublease situation up there. In California for like a 2-bedroom in Santa Barbara, where we want to be because that's where she's delivering the baby. You're looking at like $3,000 to $4,000 for a 2-bedroom. I need a 2-bedroom at least. And so we're like, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do one for $3,000. So we're out of here on the 1st, and we had a badass spot locked in Santa Barbara up in the hills, and the people are like, yeah, we're not gonna rent. The tenant that's there is gonna stay. That was gonna be for 1 month for $3,000. This house that like overlooks Santa Barbara, it had like a sauna in it. It was badass. So that fell through, and then we're just like, okay, well, maybe we'll, get an Airbnb. That didn't work. We can't find one, for the price that we need. They're like 5,000-6,000, which I can't afford. So even 3,000, that's a lot, to rent. So the plan all along was to buy a house. I was going to buy a house in September. Interest rates are good right now. I fixed my credit, finally. My credit's good. And I had always assumed, okay, the doc's on track to be done. September's like do or die when it's done. It's still being worked on, Avery is cutting it right now. We did the new interviews with Seth, with Ryan Romnerez, with Dustin White. A few more interviews, then there's 2 days of reenactments. Draven Bennington, Chester Bennington's son's gonna play me as a kid or as like a teenager. And so we have to do very little to finish it. We have to shoot the last couple reenactment scenes, and we got to have it done by September. So I was always like, okay, well, I'm going to get a bulk of money in September, and that's when I'm going to buy a house. Everything with me just takes fucking forever. But, it's like everything right now because of how, and I'm not mad at Lucas. We're on good terms. We still talk, like on Facebook. I haven't talked to him. We met in person at one time and we worked it out, so he's going to finish it. I talked to Jim Olds pretty frequently. Everything's on track for it to be finished. And, like, we have the money for it. Like, we're good. But it's all on them. Like, I've been, like, removed from, like, a commanding position in it, where I'm just the subject now. I guess that's how it should be anyway. But because of that, because I'm not like hands-on, like producing it like I was, like, I mean, to some degree I still am, but like Jose is really like taking control, and he's like, fuck, we're so close. The cut that you guys saw, which the producers made me remove, they said that, it's not the structure. So Jim, Seth Ferrante, and I wrote the structure to the film. It starts off with me doing the prediction, or with my family doing the predictions about me as a kid. And then it goes into Paul more, so that when his death happens, it has optimal effect. It shows it for what it was and how painful the situation was. And then at the end, there's predictions from my parents, from Karina, and from me about Nico and Wyland. And then I end it with a monologue to Nico and Wyland about what I think they'll be like when they're 21, what I want them to be like, and what I learned and the mistakes I made in my life. I've talked about this a bunch of times before. The cut that you've seen, which I have not seen, I have not watched the cut because I'm too emotionally fragile. I don't look at comments anymore. I don't I have an assistant right now that's running comments, regulating shit, kick toxic people off. I know people are just really upset about it. I guess maybe that's just because they really like me and they're mad that they got kicked off, and I guess that's a good thing. But I have so much other shit going on right now. It's not something I can't look at comments. I can't even watch the cut for the documentary. I don't want to see it. It's too much for me. It's painful to watch that shit. But from what I've heard is that it lacks the structure that we gave it. So it's like kind of just like thrown together in a linear order, but you're not seeing what the film will look like because there's not the structure that we wrote. The structure that we wrote will be a more effectual story, and it will be powerful, and it'll do all the things that I want, and then have the Narcan Paul project up by the time that it's released. All these people constantly oh, you ran a scam, there's no doc coming out. Oh, there certainly is. We have it through Tremendous Films, which is an LLC. It's WGA signatory with Jim signed on with contracts. Everything's contractual. We have finance agreements with everybody. The problem that I think I've had is that I've been just too transparent about the making of it. And then, of course, my own personal problems have affected how long it's taken. We've gone through multiple directors. Lucas is going to actually finish the film. But you usually don't get to see a documentary film, or a film for that matter, kind of as it's being made. You don't realize that a lot of documentaries take years to make. It's like, this isn't the first one that has. Just a lot of people putting weird speculative shit out that's not true. It's like, I don't know. It's one of the problems with putting your life out there is now people want to attack you for everything, accuse you of shit that you didn't even do, put fraudulent things out to try to make people turn against you. And in this time, we've decided to buy a house. I have a way to do it. I have someone helping me do it, and it's not my parents, but it's the producer for one of the films that I'm doing. And he basically is like, let's work out a deal and I'll help you with the down payment. I have to suck his dick. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll suck your dick. He's like, all right. As long as you'll suck my dick. I'm like, of course I will, dude. I need a pad, bro. No, but we're going to get one. So, we're going to look at 4 different places tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we're going to settle in a place in Hollywood. I'm not positive. I know closing costs can be insane. Probably going to, get an Airbnb for a week before we move in, because it takes a little bit to close, but we're on it. We're making it happen. And, that's because the producer believes that the doc is going to do as well as I do, even if it's just the platform that'll be generated from it. It's going to be life-changing for me. I personally think that that's a winning lottery ticket. And so that's the plan right now. It's getting a house. The documentary's getting finished, but it's I don't have the kind of role in its completion. But September, that's when it needs to be done, And, I've been really focusing on my relationship, which has gotten better. We're really doing well right now, in therapy and just fixing shit. And me just owning up to stuff, being like, okay, yeah, I'm a drug addict. My problem is that I'm an addict. That's and mental health. That's pretty synonymous though. But these are 2 things that I've just let go unaddressed for way too long. And I'm proactively doing everything I can to heal. People wanted me to go to rehab, to a psych ward, take a month off, And instead of doing that, I'm like, no, I want to keep it, especially when I'm having my second kid. This is when I need my income the most. So it's taken a little bit of time to figure it all out, to figure out how to get this house, to figure out you know, how the documentary will go on without me having to be as involved, figuring out the various writing projects that I'm doing, starting to go to Sinisters, you know. We have that worked out. Last night and I'll end with this, and I'm gonna do a story, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. But last night we went to a Crazy Town show because I become friends with the lead singer Shifty. I don't know if you remember that band, but they did Butterfly, which was like a massive hit song in the 90s. He also did Starry Eyed Surprise. He was on Celebrity Rehab, and he's a really great guy. You know, we've gotten really close. He definitely wants to do a Friends Friday with me. And, you know, he invited me backstage last night, you know, to the VIP part of Whiskey A Go Go. I generally don't like going to nightclubs or bars. I've never been that guy. I've always been just like a crack smoker. I'm like, yeah, let's smoke crack and let's look out the window. We might see a deer or something. We're like in New York. I told you there's a deer out there, bitch. Are you high? No. Yeah, me neither. Me neither. This deer's fucking whack anyway. Let's see what's out this window. Maybe there's a hen or something. Oh. So I ended up inviting Sinister, and Sinister brought his buddy, who's the co-founder of Von Dutch Clothing. And then these two girls, they're in, you know, they work for Risk. One of them's his assistant, one of them's on his management, and they brought a girl. So we were there, and you know, we go to the Whiskey A Go Go on the Sunset Strip, and I didn't drink anything at all. At one point, someone tried to slip me a Jack and Coke, and they're like, "Hey, bro, it's soda." I was like, "Oh yeah." And Karina was like, "Yeah, right." She went with me. She babysat me. So, didn't drink, but there was this guy. Right? There was this fucking annoying guy. I filmed some of it, put it up live last night. But he was just being creepy. You know, he's just saying weird shit. He's like, "Yeah, what would you guys do if I just took my dick out and started stroking on it? Would you think that that's weird?" I'm like, "Look, dude, I'm a non-violent guy, but if you do that, I'm gonna suck your dick until you pass out, knock you out by sucking you off." Yeah, then what? Then what are you gonna do? You're gonna look gay in front of everyone. He was saying weird shit though. But not. I mean, I know I say weird stuff, but he was saying inappropriate stuff. You know, I've never been one of those guys that like says a bunch of crazy sexual shit to women that I don't know. Like I've never been like that unless I'm on meth. They're like, "Yeah, I've stuck skate tools with my ass. Made me feel like I was in control." There I go. Okay, personality's coming back a bit. So anyway, let me give you an example of what he was saying. You know, he's like, "Look, he's like, when Butterfly comes on, I'm gonna fucking take my shirt off, and I'm gonna start to rubbing on my balls. Who's with me?" Karina's like, "Yeah." So two of the girls that we were with, it was kind of a business meeting, right? Sinister and I are doing some things together because I'm going to be renting that office from him. You know, I'm going to commute to his studio from where I'm at. Last week, it's just been so goddamn busy with all the move stuff, and we're trying to get approved to sublease before our house plan. And, you know, my landlord here's cool. If I had to stay here another month, I could. It's not like we're booted out or anything, but I promised Karina that I'd have a bigger place. But anyway, we're there last night. This guy was being creepy, and he kept leaving to get the girls' drinks. At one point, when one of my friends brought me Jack and Coke, and Karina caught me. It was funny because right at that moment, I left. I went outside and I was like hanging out with Andy Dick, which didn't know shit about. I didn't know he was like some weirdo. I heard that afterwards. But I talked to him for a while, and he was like just saying a bunch of weird shit, you know. He was talking about how he lived with some guy that like was like one of the like top bowling people in the world or something. I don't know. I was like, was like, get away from me, man. You're fucking... No, I wasn't. I was like, oh, you're famous? I don't even care that you've done fucking weird shit. What up? I didn't know about all that until afterwards, but I was talking to him. Then I go back inside, and this guy, the creepy guy, had brought a sparkling water to one of the girls that I was with. Because I was with Karina and 3 other girls. And then I was with the Von Dutch dude, Sinister, and a couple other people. A singer from Fishbone. And anyway, so I take a few sips of this water that he was going to give to one of the girls. The girl didn't want it, so I end up drinking it. Karina gets thirsty. She drinks a little bit of it. We have like a couple sips, right? We leave early. We had gotten Nico a babysitter. We got home around like midnight. He had already fallen asleep at that point. And at one point, Karina was like, are you drunk? Now, I was literally with her the entire night. Like, she was sitting right next to me, except for a couple times when I went outside to smoke a cigarette. Like, I wasn't out of her sight. But she has every right to accuse me of drinking because it's definitely something I would do. I just didn't. I mean, I tried to, but I got caught, I tried to because somebody was trying to sneak me a drink. I didn't ask for them. It was just, but someone handed me, and I'm one of those people. They're like, hey, man, you want a hand job? Like, yeah. Yeah, wait a second. We're not going to videotape it again, are we? No, all right. Let's do it. So she was asking me if I was faded. I was like, nah, I'm not faded. Smell my breath. And she has, she's got a nose like a hound, right? So she smells and she's like, okay, you didn't drink. Cool. Good. We go home. I wake up the next morning and I'm hungover. Bad. Like, how sometimes you wake up and you're so hungover you feel like you could like pound like a gallon of water? You're like farting and shit while you're doing it because you're just so thirsty. You're like... And I was like, babe, I feel hungover. She's like, I knew you drank. And she's like, wait, I feel hungover too. What the fuck? We both felt weird, right? I slept pretty much all day today. It all made sense. Got fucking roofied last night, and we didn't drink very much of it, so I think we just had like a very minimal effect. But we both had a hangover, right? She certainly didn't drink. She's fucking pregnant. And I didn't drink either, I promise. I guess my promises mean nothing, but I really didn't. And just the whole thing was fucking bizarre. It's like a roof, like people are still roofing people. It's fucking out of control. No. But they were trying to roofie these girls that we were with. And it's just, I don't know, the whole thing made me feel really sad. But even just going out to stuff like that, sober, going to watch music, supporting my friends playing music, going out and doing social stuff with Karina when we're sober like that has been so good and beneficial for our relationship, Let's say that our relationship was the worst it ever was, just like 6 weeks ago. It was like she'd finally put her foot down. She's just like, I can't deal with your addiction anymore. Can't deal with your mental health stuff. Like, if you don't go get help, I gotta take Nico and leave, And I didn't blame her. I was like, all right. But just today, she's like, told me, she's like, hey, I just want you to know that I know you're really trying now, and I appreciate it. Being proactive about my mental health and my addiction shit. It's what you need to do. If any of you are struggling, take it from someone that's been struggling for 20 fucking years. The only way that I'll ever get better is when I work on it every single day. Work on being sober. And one thing I learned last night is it's probably not good to go to fucking nightclubs like that when I'm around alcohol. At least if I'm with a sober companion, which I was last night, that's the only way I should ever be in this situation. What I learned is that I shouldn't do that kind of stuff alone. So I'm growing, and, I think going to Sinister's, 5 days a week and working and having a schedule and having what I'm going to do content-wise written down and do it the way that I'm supposed to be doing it. You know, you've all seen me in productive periods. You know, I'm blessed that people support me enough to fucking be patient and kind of watch me publicly flounder the way that I did. I really have needed to heal, you know, and I like, I'm being genuine when I say that I feel like I am. You know, I love my kid. I love my kid more than I hate myself. You know, and I had to really look at it that way, because I was dying a slow death and not being honest with myself about it. You know, I'm like, dude, I have homies that do blow and jerk off to tranny porn. I'm not that bad. I only do that kind of shit on meth. And then I like start doing meth. No. Feels good to be sober, honestly. Like, I'm not smoking weed or anything, and I don't know. I feel a lot more clear-headed than I have in a long time. I'm depressed, no doubt at all about that. But, you know, I have a level head on my shoulders right now, and I feel optimistic about the future. And I appreciate you guys for being there for me, especially if you've made it to the end of this video. I fucking love you. All right, guys, I'm gonna do a story now. Palabra.